Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Today we're just, I don't know, gotta find something to do. I was working on input remapping yesterday, that I'm still noodling around in my head how I want to handle that. So I don't want to do that on this stream. So we may do some bug fixes, may do some content. Basically I'll just find something to work on. I don't really have anything super interesting planned, but we'll just hang out and get some stuff done. Anyway, Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can use alchemy to build your own synergies. So if that sounds good, add it to your wishlist. The demo will be out relatively soon. You can also support the game on Patreon. If you subscribe at the top tier here for at least 1 month on Patreon, I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and I'll put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So that's a great way to support the game, to get a copy of the game as well. If you're interested, you can also check out my Udemy courses. The links for those are in the description below. Pretty self-explanatory. If you want to learn how to build Godot games from yours truly, then you can check that out. But it's also a great way to help out the development. You know, those are the Patreon, the Udemy course. Those are all the ways that I'm making my money right now. That's the way that I'm getting paid. So every little bit helps, but hopefully that will be reversed with the release of Alchemortis. Hopefully that'll be the main way that I make my money from then on. Anyway, we'll see. Hello, Emerson. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, let's take a look at maybe some of these bugs. Wasp is not playing effect for projected ability. I think any of these tutorial bugs, these are no longer bugs, so I can actually just delete those. Potential controller bug, if you expect something. Okay, anyway, let's just take a look at this one. Wasp is not playing effect for projected ability. So let's go ahead and update the test player cards. Ceremonial dagger. Okay, and then we'll do test map training dummy. Cool. So there's a bug here, so I have these, effects that play during combat, and it looks like the projection effect is not being played by the Wasp. So this is supposed to be, oh, this is a passive. Oh, never mind then. That's not actually a bug. Well, that's good. What else do I have that projects an ability? Add item hag. Oh man, I had a sneeze coming, but it didn't come. That's the worst thing. Projects to items on the right edge, confused. Let's see if this works. I should see a little duply go over. Yeah, that works. Okay. So I guess I just didn't notice that this was a passive projection. So never mind, that's not a bug either. Delete. We have a null reference exception that came in Sentry. So I wonder if I could take a look at that. Maybe this would be a good opportunity to show you guys how this works. I hope that there's no personally identifying information on this screen. Well, we'll just roll with it. There's no personally identifying information coming from the players. I'm talking about myself. So anyway, whatever, we'll just go through it, and if something shows up, it's okay. Anyway, so there's this null reference exception that came in through Sentry. And we can take a look here, so we can see that so it's in legendary abilities, so that's a good narrowing down here. Unfortunately, it doesn't really tell me which legendary ability it is. So base card execute abilities. So object reference not set to an instance of object. Well, here's what I could do. So I've got 36 attachments. So I've actually got the save right here. So this is the save file. This is somebody's save file. I don't know whose it is, but we've got the save file here, and there's no identifying information in here either. So there's no way to identify a player based on this save data. So I can take this save file and I can actually download that. And then if I go to the downloads here, I've got the save.json, which, so how do I want to show this? Yeah, so I've got the save.json here. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think I can expand the native explorer, but that's that downloaded save.json. So I'm going to copy that. I'll go to Alchemortis. I'll go to my logs folder here. We're going to delete alchemortis.json.back, and we'll put this one in here, alchemortis.json. Oh, the unfortunate thing though is that this is going to break because there's a migration. Save migrator. Oh, interesting. I may need to manually edit this. Actually, I don't think I need to, maybe I don't need to manually edit this. Maybe what I can do is just bump the version up and let it be. I could just clear out the global statistics. I don't really care about this actually. Let's just get rid of that. Actually, we'll just run it with this. Okay. So now let's see if I can reproduce we'll skip menu, mute music. That's fine. Ignore save file, ignore unlocks. Okay. So now if I run the game, we'll be right into that player's session. And we will see. Also, I need to catch up on the chat. So here we go. We've got whoever experienced this null reference error. No global ability driver registered for key. Okay, so I changed a bunch of stuff. That's the unfortunate thing, but we've only got 2 legendary abilities here. Oh, this one doesn't even have a legendary ability. So we've got 1 legendary ability. So it must be this one that is giving me the error. So we'll take a look in that. Look at that. Yeah, this whole save system is gonna fail because this is an old save thing. But anyway, hello Courier Games, welcome. Seems like you've decided to do some work after all. I have. Hello, Johan. Some feedback for you. I did the playtest. I'm not sure the target audience for your game, but I've played the auto battler from League and Dota where they come out. It sneezes, biting, it's time, stay vigilant. It wasn't clear to me what progress or improvement looked like in a League auto battler when you level up pieces. Like they have a star. I know your game has stuff in that realm too, but I felt a little confused about what I should be alchemizing and such. But the game was still a ton of fun. I'm sure with more runs I would figure it out. But there's certainly a learning curve. Yeah, so first of all, thank you for playing and thank you for leaving your feedback. I think the thing about this game is that it is a little bit more hands-off, right? Like, my impression, and I played a little bit of TFT, right? My impression is that TFT is a very heavily designed game, which means that they are trying to give you clear paths for upgrades, right? They're trying to give you, like, they have limited items. Those items have limited, stat increases or whatever. They're trying to design an experience where it's very clear how you can achieve upgrades, right? But in Alchemortis, it's more of like a systems-based game. So there's no like strict upgrade. There's no strict, like if you combine these two things together, then you're gonna get something more powerful out the other end, right? It's more of a systems-based game where you have to leverage the systems that are available to you to create your own power. And I think that's kind of like the main difference. And so with that said, I definitely understand why that would be confusing and why you would feel rudderless in terms of like, I don't know where to go or I don't know what a power increase looks like. And that might just be, honestly, that might just be a weakness of the game. But I think that there are things that I can do to make that a little bit clearer, that that's what you're supposed to be doing, that you're playing the game correctly if you're just like alchemizing stuff and creating your own builds. So the new tutorial that I built hopefully does a little bit of a better job of showing you like, here's how you are supposed to interact with the game. And also the stuff that's missing from the tutorial might be a clue as well. Like if the tutorial doesn't say, here's how you make your items obviously powerful, then maybe that would be a clue to the player that like, oh, I am supposed to just do my own thing, right? But I think that to some extent, that's just fundamentally like not a part of Alchemortis. Like I don't really know if there's such a thing in this game as like a very obviously good, like a very obvious upgrade path for your items. And like I said, maybe that'll be a weakness of the game, but also maybe there's some things that I can do about that as well. But yeah, we'll have to think about that. My vote is for over-explaining. Welcome back, Lux Spark, by the way. All items in this row. Dang, whoever was playing this run was doing some work. All right, let's see if I can somehow get that null reference exception to work. See, I don't know. I don't think this has recreated faithfully because I redid a bunch of the save system stuff. You know what I could do actually? I might need to pull that save back in. What I may need to do is go to the playtest branch so I can see. So let's go here. I'm just repasting the save file. So I'm going to close Godot. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go to the playtest 6 branch, which is like 500 commits behind master now. I'm going to build again. Get everything nice and good. Okay, and then I'm going to reopen Alchemortis. And then I'm going to reload that save. And then we should be able to get a more accurate reproduction. Okay, so project. Debug. Turn off all this stuff. Turn off that. All right, now let's go back into the game. I can see your point though. In your game, you want to encourage freedom and design, as you should feel like your run team is yours. No wrong answers, only better and worse answers. Hello, Wooius, welcome. It's hard balance because if you want to encourage freedom and creativity, but if all the choices are equal, what's the point of the choice, really? Right, so I think what I'm trying to... I did have a lot of fun just throwing random stuff in the pot. Yeah, that's good. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like... I think the experience that I'm trying to go for is I'm trying to make the player feel like they're clever, right? I want the player to feel like they've discovered something about the game. Like they discover how something works and they try it and it works. Or they see an ability that would be really powerful on some item and they, through a clever application of alchemy, manage to get that ability onto the item that they want, right? I think that's more of the experience that I'm going for. So it's less about like, oh, sweet, I got a good drop and now I have a direct upgrade path. It's more about like looking at all the tools you have and coming up with your own ways of like min-maxing, right? So that's the experience that I'm trying to create for the player. I wonder if I can multi-thread this. Generating the combat configurations. Can I do that? That took a second. Interesting. Anyway. Legendary Swarm. Confuse enemy items larger than this item for 1 execution. So we've got 2 legendary abilities that could potentially be the null reference error. This is a tier 6 item. So yeah, there were a lot of abilities that were missing. Well, let's just go into combat and see what happens. This is a ridiculous build, goodness gracious. There we go, we got some errors. Okay, let's take a look. What? Turn executor component, delegate utils. A legendary game.data legendary abilities. Ability execution failed on phylactery. Oh, phylactery is the problem. Ability execution failed on phylactery. Why? Let's take a look. Reduce the remaining cooldown of this item by 0.2 seconds. Oh, I've got just like a repeating error. Increase critical chance by 50%. Reduce cooldown by 0.1 seconds per adjacent item. So it is a legendary ability. So legendary passive projects to items. Reduce projects to items. Okay. So I need to figure out where this error is actually coming from. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Card data provider. Oh. Card data provider. Confuse larger items. Wait, why is that coming from confuse larger items? Oh, card data provider is not being executed. Oh. So, no, wait, non-combat. Can I put a breakpoint here? We attach to process. Godot. Card data provider base card as null. Interesting. Did I fix this in the master branch? Let me go to GitHub. GitHub. I'm just going to figure out scripts data ability. Ability. Confuse larger items. This is legendary abilities. Okay, so we've got this. Non-combat data provider. No, it's the same structure. I could have sworn that I fixed this. Oh, the query target provider needs to be in the non-combat as well. Oh. Yeah. So the reason is this actually has not been executed. Right. Okay. So custom filter. Oh, I need it to be in both. Oh. Wait a minute. No, that's not the problem. No, that's not the problem. Why is this base card null? It's just not executing this card data provider. Oh, Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's... Will it be fixed if I... Oh gosh, it's just gonna throw on every exception. Let's just uncheck this. Okay. Will it be fixed if I force a refresh on it? So clear this. No, it's not fixed. Non-combat data provider, card data provider. That should be here. Is this not being executed? I don't know why this is null. This card data provider. I mean, I might as well just put a breakpoint there, I guess, and then see. Is it just not working? It's not executing that ability. Interesting. Anyway, let's catch up with the chat. Hello, Chic.io. Welcome to the stream. I think the biggest challenge is that most of the information is conveyed through reading. It takes a fair amount of time to consume and understand. Yeah, I think I do need to do some more work figuring out how to get players to understand the game more intuitively. I think there's definitely improvements to be made there. Did you make the art anims for this? I love the work. Yes, I did. Welcome, me, or M.I. Good to see you. Yes, I did make all the art and animations for the game. I feel like there's a lot of reading required to make informed decisions. I think to some extent, like I can't do much about that. To some extent. I mean, that's been my experience playing auto battlers too, is that you do have to keep track of a lot of in your head, and like there is a lot of reading that you need to do typically. So I don't know what I can do to make that easier, but yeah, and the problem is like I've done a couple of passes on the wording to make it more concise. The problem is if I make it too concise, then it leaves off information, right? So like a classic example is like, I don't know if this ability only works based on abilities executed by this item, or if it triggers off of all abilities executed by allied items, or all abilities globally, right? So there's like language consistency that needs to be done. So like I have to strike the right balance between not being too wordy, but also having enough words that it very clearly communicates like how it actually works. So the goal again for the game is for all the ability descriptions to be worded such that when the same phrase is used across multiple abilities, that indicates that those abilities are working in a very similar way. But that's easier said than done. Optimal ways to communicate some information with less text. Same info could probably communicate it with icons, for example. The right words, yes. Why use lot word when few word do trick? Yeah. I do think that just communicating in a more concise manner might go a long way. The struggle is that the game is a lot of mechanics, so it's a lot to communicate. Tutorial pattern of mini quests, which may work for a roguelike. So that's another thing too, right? Like I can use the challenge system as a way to like get players to experiment more. So if I say, you know, like get 5 abilities onto a 1x2 item as a challenge, right? Well, a 1x2 item only has 2 ability slots by default. So now it's like, oh, well, there must be a way that I can do that. There must be a way that I can complete this challenge. So then putting the player into the mindset of like thinking about how would they accomplish that. Something like that could maybe help. I mean, that's a little bit of like a indirect way of getting players to experiment. I think maybe one of the big problems is like maybe it's not clear enough to the player that what they should be doing is experimenting, right? Like maybe the game is not giving players the permission or the information that they need to be comfortable with like experimenting. Because I guess if you're coming at the game again with this idea that you're looking for upgrades but you're not finding any obvious upgrades, then I can see how you would end up with a situation where it's like you're lost, right? Like I don't know what to do. How do I actually make my items more powerful? So maybe there's something like, maybe there's a step I can add in the tutorial or something, or maybe there's maybe a lot of it is just like a framing issue, right? Like players are not in the right mindset that I want them to be in for the game. And so maybe the question is more like, how do I get them more into the exploratory and experimentation mindset rather than a mindset of like you're hunting for explicit upgrades, right? Reading innate passive on 3 abilities in the same card makes me never use that card out of sheer exasperation. Simpler cards and unlock complex cards. I do have a plan to do that. So the demo build, I stripped out like almost all of the complex cards. I have no idea if the game's actually going to be beatable without those complex cards, but I have to test that for sure. But for the demo, I like dramatically reduced the content and I cut all of like the most complex things from the demo. And so I'm thinking that might be the approach to take for the full game too, is like put all of the more complex items behind like upgrades. And so as the player is completing challenges and unlocking things, they're gradually like adding more complex items to the pool. That might be the way to go, but we will see. Could be a typo in phylactery data. No, the problem is this card data provider here is not being executed, which means that this base card property is not present. And I'm not entirely sure why that's happening. Anyway, we'll get back to that in a second. Having a lot of fun with simple cards, making complex cards myself through alchemy rather than trying to parse already complex cards whose intention I'm struggling to parse. That could be a thematic thing too, perhaps a story point framing, like you said. The problem is the player, not the game. Well, I think, welcome S. Brookman. Good to see you. So I think, I mean, the problem is like always the game. Like if the player is not getting the intended experience that I want, then it's a problem with the game. But what I'm saying is like, it may not be a problem with like how the game works. It may be a problem with like not getting the player into the right mindset, right? That's the other thing is like, yeah, that's the weird thing about game design is like a lot of the issues that I'm encountering are like just framing issues or, you know, like, well, I was trying to come up with an example, but I can't think of one. So I think like, okay, so maybe this is not truly a framing issue, but you know, before players were reluctant to engage in alchemy, so like a couple of play tests ago, before I started introducing the concept of reagents, But without really changing much about how alchemy works and just introducing like a bunch of reagents for people to play with, like that alone like got players into the more alchemy oriented mindset, because then you're getting all these reagents now during your runs that are only useful in alchemy, and a lot of them have very interesting effects. So it's like now the player's like, oh, so I actually need to use these to unlock like some power for myself, right? So I guess you could consider that an extra feature, but I didn't really change much about how alchemy works. I just started introducing those items, right? So that's what I mean. It's like sometimes just hinting to the player or giving the player some option that is only acquirable through alchemy is a great way to get them to engage with the mechanic. But then once they see how the mechanic works, they may be more comfortable using alchemy even without reagents, right? And plus, I think like adding the information like the ability pool makes things a little bit clearer as well. So yeah, we'll see. Thank you, Shirley. Going, yes, into the McDonald's fund. Thank you, thank you. Double quarter pounder with cheese. Meat's back on the menu, boys. Thank you again. Customer's always right. Converting disposable income to double quarter pounder budget within the household. Yes, indeed. I got the same problem, so if I come up with something decent, I'll throw it here. The right customer is always right, but the wrong customer is always wrong. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've had a couple of people come in and say, like, they've left feedback about the game that they don't like, but it's just clear, like, from their feedback that the game is just not for them, right? It's like, sometimes people come in with feedback in the feedback channel, which I appreciate, but like it's not really actionable because like they're basically expressing that they want the game to be something that it's not, and I can't really do anything about that. It's not that I can't do anything about that, it's that I don't want to do anything about that, right? It's like I like the way that my game works from a broad standpoint, and the feedback that I get sometimes is basically like, you should take the game in a different direction, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do anything about that, right? I like the game as it is. And what I mean by that is like the fundamental experience that the game offers, I like a lot, but all of the systems and quality of life surrounding that probably need to change or do need to change. But anyway, why is this not executing? I'm having a hard time, like, why is this not... So this is just not executing, this card data provider. Like, that's just not happening. Oh, it's probably because it's... Oh, it's probably because it's wrapped in a swarm. Oh, it's wrapped in a swarm. Oh. That's probably the problem. Oh, okay. I think what's happening is that, so the way that the card data provider is structured, this is a nested passive ability inside of this composed ability, but this gets wrapped by this swarm decorator. And I don't think that the code is going deep enough into executing all the passive abilities. So this may actually be a relatively big issue. You update all board contingent abilities. Execute contingent abilities for boards. So execute contextual non-combat abilities for phase. Execute ability list. Get non-combat abilities for phase. Flatten all. Flatten all recursive. So the problem here is that this is, so we've got source roots. Get all natural composed abilities. Actually, oh, is this not being used anymore? Oh, I gotta figure out how this is working again. So get non-combat abilities for phase. We're looking for source roots. Collect composed abilities. Is this recursive? Oh yeah, collect composed abilities recursive. Ability to get get abilities to execute. But the swarm decorator is a eye composite ability. So maybe, let me think about this. So this is recursive already. So we do collect composed abilities. So the way that we have a swarm, so we have a swarm ability, which wraps a composed ability, which wraps another composed ability. So we've essentially got 3 layers. Oops. Well, I guess I could use A-Sprite for this. Why not? So essentially what we have is we've got so this is the swarm ability here. This is wrapping that confuse ability. And then this one is wrapping that card update or card data provider. So this is a passive ability here. This one's a passive ability. This one is not a passive ability. The swarm, and this one is not a passive ability. So I've got a passive ability, a passive composed ability, a couple levels down the tree. And the question is this is not being grabbed and executed. I mean, we saw that from the breakpoint. So collect composed abilities recursive. So there's a problem in here. So I'm passing in the source abilities. Get non-combat abilities for phase. So I got my source roots, which is coming from here. Oh no. Execute natural, yeah. So get non-combat abilities for phase, get all natural composed abilities. So this is just all the top level composed abilities. So swarm is going to be in here. We collect those composed abilities with those roots. So we've got the source abilities here. We have the filter. X is eye non-combat ability. Get abilities to execute of type base composability. Get abilities to execute. Well, the swarm decorator has that get abilities to execute. Oh, maybe there's a problem here. Oh, I think, let me look at my ability builder. I think there's a break here that I'm not thinking about. So let's go to swarm. So this returns this composed ability. Yeah, this is filtering of type I composed ability. So the fundamental problem here is that this is not a composed ability. I wonder if I should change it. Should I change it to I composite ability? Well, maybe we'll try it. Let's see. I mean, I could just add a little hack into here. Do I want to just do a hack? I mean, I could change this type to I composite ability, but I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, we could try that. So this becomes I composite ability. This becomes I composite ability. This becomes... So now this should work. So we've got the filter here. So collect composed ability. Collected of type base composed ability. Does that work? X is I non-combat ability. Update phase, base composed ability. Is that update phase in here? It is. Okay. So we'll just do and X is base composed ability. Composed ability. Phase roots. Phase roots dot of type. Base composed ability. Am I even using this anywhere? Flatten mode dot combat only. A is I non-combat ability. Additional filter. I mean, so is that essentially the same thing? I just changed the type, but now that I'm doing it based on I composite ability rather than composed ability, that's going to dig into any composite abilities. So that means it will dig into the swarm decorator. So I'm basically expanding the search to include all I composite abilities. I'm still invoking the filter on them. But what I'm doing is after I've collected these abilities, I can then flatten all abilities. I mean, I wonder if I'm going to get like a multiple enumeration issue here. Just do to list. So I'm just essentially broadening it out, and then after I broaden out the search, then I collapse that all just to composed abilities. I wonder if that's going to be all right. I wonder if that's going to be okay. Well, let's see. I like Alchemortis, but I think it's missing a first-person view in loot boxes. Oh, and cars drifting and microtransactions would be nice as well. Referring to the suggestion to add a romance option, of course. I did add a romance option, I did. Did I fix it? Did I fix it? Let's see. This is the kind of change where I'm like, I'm worried that this is going to break some things. I mean, it shouldn't, because I didn't fundamentally change the collection logic. I just changed which types were being collected. So it should be fine. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking that flattened collected list of I composite abilities, and I'm essentially just saying, okay, now only like restrict it to composed ability. So basically going back to this. So the problem is, this swarm decorator here, this was an I composite ability. Oh gosh, I can't write with the mouse. I composite. So this swarm decorator is an I composite ability, but it's not itself a base composed ability, which is a little bit confusing. But so this extends base card ability, but it does contain within it another ability. And so the problem was, because this is not a base composed ability, the ability tree was not recursing into that branch to find this ability and then to find this ability, right? If this ability had been the root, if we just like erase this, if this ability was the root, well, this is a composed ability, and so it would have recursed down and found this other composed ability here. So the problem was fundamentally that this swarm was not itself a composed ability, which means that the ability tree was just terminating the recursive search there. But of course, what we want to do is we want to actually go into the iComposite abilities and keep recursing down. And then once we've collected everything, we end up with an array. We end up with an array that looks like this, right? So we end up with an array that has the swarm, that has the confuse, and then that has that card data provider here. So this is the array that we end up with now, except this one is not a composed ability, right? So what we do as a next step is we basically just filter that array down to just the composed abilities. So it's a way essentially of broadening the search while still retaining only the chunks of ability logic that we actually want to run. So I think that's okay. Yeah, all we're doing is we're just including extra branches in the recursive search to look at, and we're still filtering it down. I think that makes sense. And if it's still going through the should execute path, so the conditional ability decorator, this is an iComposite ability as well. So it will look inside of this to find things to execute. But I think the thing that's true is that when I do execute ability list, this is still going through that conditional should execute ability. And what this does is this looks for if it has a conditional decorator, and then it will do that check before it marks it as something that should execute. So I think we're okay. I think we're good. Anyway, let's run this and just see if I get any errors in the console when this is executing. Wow, whoever put this build together is not going to win this fight. I'm sure they discovered that already, but... Goodness gracious. I think that's correct. I think that logic is sound. Yeah, I don't really see any problems with this logic. All it's doing is just expanding the search. I don't know. We'll see. Game would be great if it wasn't an auto battler. Good morning, Ariane. Hello, David Martinez. Welcome back. Budget Jim, good to see you. In lieu of romancing the villagers of Alchemortis land, are you thinking of adding any more story elements, a lore page perhaps? Hello, Monkey Software. Yes, I still want to do lore. I mean, I do have an idea for like how the story goes. I mean, I guess it won't be like a true story because there's not going to be there's not going to be a narrative necessarily. But I think adding some more lore dumps about like what's actually going on in the world would be good. I still want to, I think what I want to do is write like a lore entry, like a paragraph for each unlock. So every time you unlock an item or unlock something in the unlock tree, you get like a little lore entry, which explains like what's going on. And I was thinking it would be kind of fun to put those like a little bit out of order. So you're not going to get the full picture until you unlock everything. But we'll see that. I mean, that's definitely something that may just not be done for the release because it's a lot of extra work. Although people are asking for like more story elements to the game. And I do have a clear idea of like what is going on in this world. So maybe we'll see if I have time to like include that for release. Good morning, Ninja Link. It should be fine, famous last words of every game dev. Yes, indeed. Be pretty sweet to have a lore drop every time you unlock something, though I think he has mentioned potentially doing that before. Yes, that is something that I want to do. If I were to add lore to the game, that's the way that I would do it. Hello, Straight Pointer. Welcome back. People love their lore. I know, like, that is something that I'm really learning about doing games, too, is, like, people do like that stuff. Like, I'm the kind of player where I go into a game and like the first thing I do when I see a cut scene is like try to skip it, right? And like if I'm going through a game which has like little audio logs or whatever, I like don't even bother to pick them up because I don't care. And so like it's never been that important to me, like the story of a game. Like that has always been like the lowest priority thing for me. of like the only game where I actually followed the story to a good extent was Baldur's Gate 3. That is literally the only game that I've ever paid attention to the story for. I don't know anything about any of the other games I've played. So to hear people like say like this is just like a sort of like casual strategy game, right? Like it's just supposed to be fun. You pick it up, you create some crazy builds. And then people are like, well, I don't know why I'm in this world. Like, why am I fighting the Inquisition? It's like, there's a part of me that's like, why does it matter? But there's another part of me that's like, okay, I guess I understand that, right? It's like some players are motivated by the story, or the story is part of the experience for the player, like of getting immersed in the world, I guess. So yeah, I should do something about that, right? I should give those people something if I can. People want more is probably something to confirm their suspicions. Tunic did a good job with that. You discovered different random pages of the manual. Okay, gotcha. That's probably because cutscenes are so skippable. Interest density is a thing. They do need to be made better now. Yeah, it's just like, and I just think, you know, like maybe this is just me, but I feel like if I want a good story, the other mediums give that to me, right? Like if I want a good story and that's my primary concern, I will just watch a movie, right? Or read a book or whatever. I don't read anymore, but like games have never been a medium that I go to for like, yeah, I want a good story experience. No, games are a medium that I go to for like challenge and like feeling like an awesome, you know, super powerful broken fighter. Or honestly, like my favorite kinds of games historically have been competitive multiplayer games because I like the idea of ruining someone else's day, right? So yeah, it's just, I guess I'm just not that kind of person. Like I've never, like story has never been a selling point for me for video games. Like if a game like advertises itself as like immerse yourself in the story, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy that one at all. You know, better the story, the more I remember the game, but that doesn't mean I don't find other games fun. Gotcha. Interactive fictions are money makers. That's why the lore page is optional. No, I'm not saying like, if you like lore in your games, like that's, you know, that's totally fine. And I think if I want Alchemortis to be as successful as I can make it, I definitely do think I need to give the players who love like the story in games, I need to give them something. So I'm not saying I'm not going to do that and you're a terrible person for enjoying lore. I think what I'm saying is my experience playing games is that the story is so unimportant that I didn't realize how important the story elements were to other people, is what I'm trying to say. The mechanics in Portal 2 are great, but Portal 2 is my all-time favorite game because of the story acting. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that's like the gold standard for like video game writing. The only game I expect a partially compelling story is an RPG. Most other games are just that, a game. Yeah. I'm wondering if like a game like Balatro, like is there a bunch of people who are like dying for a Balatro story? Maybe not, because that game does present itself as more of like just a game, right? It'd be like asking for a story for Solitaire. It doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I can see with like Alchemortis, like I'm very obviously presenting this world where there's all this like weird stuff going on, and like that, I could see how that would generate intrigue for people. It's not like the game is not presenting itself as just a game, right? It's presenting itself as if there's something else going on. So yeah, I think that's maybe I should prioritize the story. Maybe I should do that. I'm trying to think like, yeah, I'll have to think about that. I blame Elden Ring likes Balatro lore, but they do. I feel like you're selling a fantasy though. Yes, yeah, I think that's right. I am selling a fantasy, right? It's not just a card game where you make number go up. It's like there's characters, there's flavored text. You're fighting the Inquisition. Why are you fighting the Inquisition, right? Yesterday I got a deck builder idea. Now I need the courage to build it. Just do it, Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. Deck builders are, I mean, I guess Alchemortis is not really a deck builder game, but yeah, building these kinds of games is a lot of fun. I'm nervous. I don't want to commit this. Do I have Claude review the changes? Balatro doesn't need a story, but it doesn't have a player character who isn't me. You only need a story element at the beginning to introduce the player to the story and at the end of the run. Like the way Valheim introduced you to the world, a brief context, and you're free to go. Yeah, I mean, I could do like a... Trying to think. Maybe I shouldn't go to this one, actually. Quit the menu. Should go to this one. Interesting. This build just got stopped. Now I'm worried that there's something else going on here. Okay, let me try this. Let's stash this change. Stash staged. We'll go back in. That build looks familiar. Well, this is I pulled this off of Sentry, so this might be your build, Ninja Link. There was a null reference exception happening, which was essentially causing this Swarm Confuse Legendary not to work. Which is what I was just working on fixing. Proper dense sentence could do it, I think, of something. Yeah, I'm wondering, do I show like a page like before your first run to like introduce the world and the story? And just like maybe like 4 sentences, right? Like a Star Wars intro, you know, like setting up the scene, and then the further lore comes with the progression system. So like on your first run, you get like a little scene setting, pique some curiosity in the player, and then you don't get any more lore until you start investing in the progression system. Maybe that's the way to do it. You're already a rich theme to start with for lore, though. This is easy pickings. Yeah, I mean, like, I've had a clear idea of what the lore is for the game for a long time. I just have never really thought it was important to prioritize that, but maybe it is. That was my super swarm build with a dagger that had a ton of swarm because of wasp eggs. Oh, gotcha, okay. Thank you, Snup Build, for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that with the message yummers. So, oh yeah, right. Here's all the swarm. So maybe you made some changes to your build, like after your file had last saved before this issue, because, like, this is not doing anything. But anyway, the important thing is that the bug is fixed. I'm very glad that I added Sentry to the game, because these are the kinds of bugs that players would have never noticed, but I improved the logging of the game and the error handling and whatnot, so I'm seeing some errors coming through that, like, you would have literally never caught as a player, which is good. All right, well, here's what I need to do now. It's fixed. I fixed the null reference exception, so what I need to do now is essentially switch back to master. Actually, let's get rid of this. Discard. We go back to master. We bring this ability tree change over. Okay, I think I'm gonna take a quick break, but while I'm on break, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna ask Claude to review these changes. I've been getting in the habit of doing that. When I make a change to my system, I like to ask Claude to review it and make sure that it's not gonna break anything. So examine the diff in ability tree, which was designed to fix an issue where an inner non-combat composed ability would not be executed during board manager's contingent ability update due to it being a descendant of a swarm decorator, which is an eye composite ability, but not a base composed ability. I broadened the recursive search in ability tree to pick up all eye composite ability and then filter back down to just base composed ability for execution. Please analyze and confirm the fix works as expected and does not introduce unintended side effects or bugs. Okay. My idea is a deck builder where you have a timeline you can strategically place cards along it. Oh, that sounds interesting. So is it like an auto battler deck builder where like as the time grows, that's the timing of the execution of the items? That sounds really interesting actually, because then it's more like, it's kind of like an auto battler, but it's linear, right? Like everything executes one at a time after the given. Oh, that's a really interesting idea actually. That is a really good idea. You should definitely explore that. Inquisition is a big concept. Yeah. Your art already caught my eye, so I don't care much about the story. Well, thank you. Each character should have a different reason for existing and why they are fighting, perhaps. Not too much else is necessary. Can I talk about the Sentry implementation a bit? Yes, I will do that after I take my break. So if I come back to the stream and I forget to do the Sentry explanation, please remind me again. But I need to get a refill on my drinks and stuff, but we will go through that in a little when I get back from my break. Alchemist and Necromancer seek power, but the Inquisition opposes you. Review agent mandatory. Thanks for the feedback. You're welcome. I think that's a really interesting idea. I think that there's a lot of potential there. You should definitely try it out. All right, I will be right back in just 3 minutes, and then when I come back, we will explore the Sentry integration and then move on to something else. Okay, BRB. Okay, I'm back. All right, so the Sentry integration. So fortunately, the Sentry integration is really, really simple. So the Sentry actually has a whole documentation page on integrating with the Godot engine. So I basically just followed this. So all you need to do basically, and I don't know exactly where this is, repository on GitHub. So they've got the repository releases. Let's see, configuration, quick start. Oh yeah, download the latest stable version. So you download the add-on, which is essentially just a GD extension. You add it to your add-on Sentry folder, and that basically just sets everything up for you. And so you get ultimately, like, I don't know if I should show it on my end because, you know, I've got some API configuration stuff in there, but it basically just adds these configuration options to your project settings where you could put like your DSN, which is like your API endpoint essentially. And that's basically it. You just configure this however you want. They go through all the configuration options here. The only thing that was really tricky for me to set up is because I'm using a custom logger with C#, I had to write a Sentry sync for my logger. So a sync is like basically wherever the logs end up to. So I've configured it to write to the Godot console, which puts whatever I'm logging out to the Godot console. But then I can also have it write to a different sync, in this case, the Sentry sync. And what the Sentry sync does is it listens for those log events, and basically it only captures fatal and errors. So it will only end up sending the error or fatal events to Sentry based on whatever I log. And there's some like built-in like throttling in here too. Like Sentry has throttling settings. So like, for example, if an error is getting printed every frame, you don't want to fill up your event quota, right? So you can say basically like, oh, like only include like 5 copies of this event or whatever after 20 seconds or something. But I had to like basically recreate that logic in here because of the way the sync works. But yeah, so the Sentry comes with an SDK. I think it's accessible on Godot and C#. Like I didn't have to do anything. Like they already have a C# SDK for me to use. And then the only other thing is that I can attach the save snapshot. So basically this is just taking the Sentry scope, saying that I want to add an attachment, and then yeah, just basically capturing the save snapshot here, which is, where is that? Serialized save snapshot. So this is just taking the JSON serializer and serializing the save model, and then attaching that as JSON to the error event. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to say beyond that. Like it basically worked out of the box for the most part. Like I said, I just had to do some stuff because I'm using a custom logger. But if you're using GDScript, my understanding is that as soon as you put like gd.push error or whatever, that will get handled by Sentry and end up in your dashboard. So like I am like amazed at how dead simple they made it. I was expecting the integration to be a little bit like finicky and like not well documented, but they actually have quite a lot of documentation here just for Godot, which is great. So yeah. And the free tier on Sentry seems pretty generous too. Like you get like 5,000 events a month or something, and it's like, I very highly doubt I'm gonna hit that quota. Love mechanics like this, but they're not used enough. I think the most recent example is League of Legends board game. A lot of Tableau builders use this type of thing. Deus is a fun example of this where you build cards in a specific order because each time you activate it, they activate in the order they were built. Oh, very fun. Yeah, that does sound like a good idea. I think I found a bug. The legendary keyword is on the Gambler's Toe. Okay, we'll fix that. We use Sentry at work, but I've never seen how it works with games. Yeah, I mean, like I was a little bit intimidated, to be honest, about how like to get this set up, but it was like I literally did it in like a couple hours in an afternoon, and it was fine. And then I shipped that to the playtest, and I started getting events. So like, yeah, can't recommend it enough based on my experience. Like they made it really easy to work with, and their Godot support seems really solid to me. And of course, you have your other project settings too for Sentry. Let me see. I'll remove my DSN so I can show you what this looks like. But so you've got auto init, skip auto init on editor play. So this auto init will basically just set up the I don't know, like I guess set up the SDK, set it up on run, but you can set it to skip auto init on editor play, which I have on, which basically just means that if you're playing from the editor and an error log comes up, it won't send to Sentry because it's not initialized. Sentry is not initialized from editor play. So I could skip all that. But you can still do this stuff, like you could still add your overrides, like your project overrides. So you could have like auto init off for like your demo build or whatever if you wanted to, right? This environment stuff, it's all like this app name, app version stuff just gets pulled from your project settings. So my application config, it will use the version and the name for tagging events in Sentry, which is really nice. What else? This is like all GD script stuff, which I didn't touch. I'm not touching Android. There's an experimental option to attach screenshots anytime you get an error, which is interesting. I don't think that would be very useful in Alchemortis, so I don't have it on. But yeah, they made it super easy to work with. Super easy. All right, let's see what Claude said. Oh, there are issues here. The fix itself is correct. Drop the collected pass entirely since flatten all already produces the identical step without duplicates. Oh. So I just do this. Oh, right. Okay. So previously it was collecting composed abilities. Collect composed abilities. This was getting the roots. Then it was filtering it down. Oh, I see. So wait, this flatten all, it is working recursively. Oh, yeah. So I guess I didn't. So this wasn't actually necessary at all. Yeah, because I'm just like re-flattening a bunch of stuff. I'm collecting abilities recursively and then flattening all those ones, which could include duplicates because this already walks the eye composite abilities. So yeah, that makes sense. So we get rid of this. We just put composed abilities there. Okay. Latent double execution and get non-combat abilities for phase. Collect composed abilities can now return an ancestor and its descendant. If a same phase ion compatibility composability ever sits beneath another one via decorator. Swarming a non-compatibility itself that nests one. Well, swarm cannot nest. Was that latent double execution bug already present prior to this change? Totally missed the live ping. Good morning. Hello, Necromantic. Hello, me, Magatron, with the raiding party of 32. Thank you. Welcome. Hello, DX Wolf. Good to see you. Thank you for the raid. Swabby Games. Hello. My intel suggests there was a raid. Someone needs a bot. It's okay. I get in the zone sometimes. Could be his first ever raid. No, it's not my first ever, but thank you. Yeah, like the primary goal of this stream is to get some work done. So sometimes I get into the zone for like 10 or 15 minutes and then I completely lost my train of thought. 10 or 15 minutes and then I check the chat. Yeah. It's up in the air. I tend to get real focused and locked in sometimes when I've had a eureka moment. Yeah. Yeah, this is not, I mean, it's fun to hang out and everything, but this is primarily a stream where I try to get work done. And then I interact with the chat in between the passing trains of thought. Let's take a look at the giant toe. So right now I made a change to how my ability system finds abilities to execute. So I'm running Claude to basically as a code review tool to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And it did catch a bug, which I believe now I've fixed. Okay, we can leave latent bugs alone. It's the one, okay. Maybe I need to dig into that later, figure out what the heck is going on exactly. But let's take a look. So here's what I'll do. Git add. So I'm like 90% to a fix there, but I need to dig into what it's talking about with the latent bug. Oh, whoops. I did not mean to do that. What in the heck? Merge changes. Okay. So we'll just stash that. Let's look at the gambler's toe. Alchemy randomized cooldown. Yeah. We just had the extra legendary keyword in there, so we'll fix that. Co-working, woo! Yeah. Yep, I've been using Claude a lot as a code reviewer, especially when I'm dealing with the complex systems like the ability system, which not only is complex, but also is core to the game. So like it's a double whammy, right? Where it's easy to make a change that has unintended side effects and that would also dramatically negatively impact the game. Let's see, debug, gambler toe. Is that what it's called? Gambler toe? Yeah. Oh, I'm getting lost in this. Okay. Okay, no longer has a legendary keyword. Thank you for reporting that. Done. Combat summary is not being reset after death resurrect. I guess we can look into that one. We'll see if we could fix this bug too. Okay, so this one, I'll just turn on the training dummy. I reworked the plague mask, by the way. Well, not really reworked. I guess I buffed it a little bit, but... So it reduces the cooldown of adjacent items with a poison ability now as an innate. It still has its heal 2 per poison damage taken since last execution. That's innate and the heal went up. So hopefully it's a little bit more useful now. But let's see what happens. So I died, I've got my combat summary. So this is not resetting, I think, after I resurrect and start another combat. So we start combat. No, it is reset. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess I don't really know what, maybe I already fixed that or something, I don't know. I also buffed poison. Poison is a lot stronger now. So instead of poison decaying faster the more stacks you have, it just decays by 1. So you're not penalized for stacking up more stacks. Which didn't reset, instead it indicated a death happened, but still displayed totals. Yeah, I can look into it. I need to do a lot of work on the combat summary generally. But I'm not seeing this bug, and that's all that the bug says, so... It may have been, so the weird thing is, like, if I've got like null reference exceptions or whatever, those may break things and just leave them in a bad state. So like, as I'm fixing null reference issues, it may be the case that a lot of these other secondary bugs are being fixed as well. But yeah, I'm not seeing any bug here, so let's just delete this one. Okay. All right, let's do something fun maybe. All these to-do items I can't really get started on yet. I do want to maybe... So we're talking about redoing the unlock tree. Instead of making it a tree, making it like tiered unlocks. It might be maybe a good idea to start on that. So the idea basically is just make this like segmented tiers instead, where I've got these unlocks, you know, aligned in a tier or whatever, and then you have to invest in like 5 unlocks in this tier before you can get to the next tier of unlocks. And the reason for that change is, I mean, basically to force players to add more content to the game. Because the thing about the unlock tree that I'm worried about, and I think is going to be a problem, is players will just not unlock things that they don't want. So it's not like, oh, well, I'll unlock that later. It's like, no, I don't want I don't want to dilute my item pool by unlocking this thing, right? But if I say, for example, you know, you literally can't get to the courier unlock until you invest, I don't know, 10 points or whatever into the tree. I mean, that's kind of like implicitly baked into this, right? So like, what's the minimum path to get here? 1, 2, well, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it requires a minimum of 6 points to unlock that guy. And then the Lich, of course, is going to be a lot of the same, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The other thing too is like this tree is going to be a nightmare to update when and if I add more content post-release. So yeah. Do flip. Welcome, Opacheco Dev. Good to see you. Hello, Fork. I didn't see your message come through, but I see it on the YouTube chat. Welcome. I haven't kept up with the streams in the last couple of months, but I'm watching today and hope development's going great. Just getting back to game to myself as a hobby. Welcome back, MF Biggs. Good to see you. That's great. Yeah. All right, let's just make a new artifact or something. I think I did this one, right? Yeah, I did that one. Give a bonus for using all unique items. All self-inflicted damage is also dealt to the enemy. That would be a good one. I have nothing to add from our previous combo, though enchant bundles as unlocks would be a fun way to build out content as well. Especially if you go the route of slowing the rate of new mechanics the player has access to. Yeah. I'm not opposed to increasing the amount of board growth and enchants through the unlock tree. Confused items deal 1 extra self damage. Project weapon tag to minions. We already have this one. Prevent death caused by holy damage. Oh, shielding applied. Sell cards at a higher price. Increase paralysis duration. It's going to be a nightmare to update in the future. Well, that sounds like a great problem for future Firebelly. Yeah, it does. Well, so what are some gaps? So we don't have any artifacts that like improve paralysis. So the idea of increasing paralysis duration is a good one. What are some other gaps we have in the game? There aren't a whole lot of poison related artifacts. Alchemortis is still planned to come out in 2026. Yes, indeed. Yes. It's meeting time, so I'll catch you afterwards if you're still around. Sounds good. Blind artifacts. Oh yeah, blind is an artifact. A gap. That's true. What could we do interesting with blind? What could we do interesting with blind? I guess I'm not feeling particularly creative today. I mean, we could just do something basic like damage based on blind, or heal based on blind, or shield based on blind. That would be a very basic thing to do. We could increase the blind magnitude. Can make blind paralyze enemies when they miss because of their blind. That might be interesting. Sunglasses immunity to blindness. I mean, something like immunity blindness could work. Inflict blindness on himself and the enemy. Yeah, is there like an interesting... Is there something interesting we could do with like self versus enemy there? Well, I have an idea for an artifact design, so I'm just going to draw that up, and then hopefully the actual functionality will come to me. Let's do an artifact. We'll just call it blind for now, I suppose. I have a really cool idea for an artifact. I hope that it turns out good. We will see. How do I move this sucker? Oh, there we go. What the heck, man? There we go. That is unfortunately too big. I guess I'll just shrink it down that way. Okay. I guess there's no way to move this better than it is. Well, we'll just try working with this, I suppose. I think I like that better. Yeah. So, I think it's working okay. That might be too aggressive for the highlight. Yeah, that's fine, actually. Okay. Trying to think about how I want to. Actually, that seems good. I want to do something similar there. Perfect. This highlight may be too aggressive as well. Yeah, I kind of want a little bit of separation there. I think that looks fine. Maybe we just give it a little bit of symmetry there. Yeah, that'll work. So now the eyeball. Do I want to move this up? No, it looks better when it's set down here. I think it looks better when it's set down there anyway. Well, that might be good. I mean, I don't know if I want to go too overboard with it. I think that looks decent. I don't think I can really complain about that. Yeah. So there we go. Whatever this is called. Is this at least 3 away? Please tell me it's 3 away. Yes. Okay. So it's like an eyeball scepter wand thing. I don't know exactly what it's going to be called, but... Now, wait a minute. No, that's right. I just try to make that... No, I think that's okay. Put a little white pixel there, I suppose. So it's like a little eyeball scepter wand thing. I don't really know what it's going to do, but I think that looks fine. Your organization flabbergasts me. Thank you. Hello, Beaker Spank. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, not new to Twitch. Gotcha. Dope staff. Thank you. Thank you. So the challenging part now is going to be figuring out what the heck this thing should do. Also, it's worth repeating, but a little pixel art little pixel art trick is that typically you want to avoid doubling up pixels. So like when you're doing a line, you don't want to do something like this, right? You want to smooth it out like that instead. So you typically want to avoid doubling up pixels. So like a line like this, actually, and you want to even them out too. Which, yeah. So you want to even out your lines as well. So you typically don't want to do something like this for like outlines. You want to do something more smooth like that. But you can violate that rule if you want to make something look pointy, right? So for example, these ends here and this tip, I want those to be pointy, so I can double up the pixel there and there and there. And see, now the outline gives the impression that that is much pointier than it otherwise would. Because if I don't have those pixels there, right, it looks rounded. But if I do that, now it looks like those edges are sharp, right? So that's the one place where you might want to double up pixels. This is especially true if you're like making a sword or something. So if I'm making a sword that happens to be red for some reason, and I have something like this, right? I obviously don't want the sword to look like that. That looks like a sausage, right? So I want to double up the pixel there. But then when I'm doing the outline, the typical way you'd outline is you would do something like this. But again, it looks dull. So I just put that extra pixel there and now it looks sharp, right? So yeah, that's a very nice trick to know. Oops, I deleted my art. So just make those pointier, and then it doesn't really matter that much in this game because the things are often against a dark background anyway. But it's still nice to do that. You know, there's a couple of other places. Like, I guess I wasn't doing it on the sword here, so if I really wanted to do it, I could go to my corrupted sword and just put that there. Lock that down again. I was certain there were some other places where I was doing it. Yeah, like the unicorn horn here, I made that pointy. Where else? I guess I didn't make this pointy, which makes sense. That's like a rounded cap. I didn't make that pointy. I probably should have done that. I wasn't even following my own advice. Make the sundial pointier. Here I made it pointy, right? That sword there. Anyway, doesn't matter. Well, yeah. So I can export this now. Now we got to figure out what to call it. My username is just SpeakerBank reversed. Oh, gotcha. Nothing, Randy. Settling into spectate will not distract. No, you're good. You were good. It's ironic how iconic this looks. Amazing. Okay, thank you. Loving the pixel tips. 5 ads. Oh, sorry. Gotta make my money somehow, I guess. Twitch is giving me that paper. Okay. So what are we going to do for this now? Well, I have an idea of what I want to call it. So let's just do... call it a monstrance. So we've got the iMonstrance now. So I'm going to rename this, actually. Trying to keep these names in sync. Okay. And we'll call it something else. Actually, let's look at iStock. I think it would be a good idea to tie all these eye things together. But I don't know if I have like a name for these various eye creatures. I don't think I ever fully appreciated how metal this one is, the Eyes of the Forest. That's so metal, dude. That's so metal. What are we gonna do about this? So I want to make it do something with blind. Actually, I'm more than happy to sit through advertisements for worthy creators. Just hate the idea of missing back and forth while in them. Oh yeah, hydrate reminder. Yeah, I mean, well, the VODs are available, and also I stream on YouTube as well. So if you happen to have like YouTube Premium or other ways of having no ads, you could join on YouTube as well. I stream to both platforms at the same time, so whichever experience you want. I've never seen the Godot file system look so colorful before. Welcome, Papa Burb. Yeah, it's a nice feature. I think it came out in like Godot 4.3 or something. You just right click and set folder color, and that's it. I don't think it's, I mean, I don't really usually find color coding to be that useful, but it does like help delineate, like basically I used it to give color to my main folders. And sometimes it does help to like know that, oh, this background is green. So that means I'm in the resources directory, right? So it can be a little bit helpful for sure. What are we going to do about this thing? Let's do something. What is something really interesting we can do with blind? What is something interesting and out of the box that we can do with blind? I kind of like the blind paralysis idea. Like something like when blinded enemies miss, they become paralyzed as well. I guess for context, for anyone's watching that doesn't know what blind is essentially a debuff that gets applied to an individual item, which gives it a chance to completely miss with everything. So that means its execution of its abilities essentially becomes a no-op. So if it's got a 50% blind chance, what that means is that there's a 50% chance that it will just execute no abilities. Trying to think, like, what can we do though? What can we do interesting? Blind and paralysis is an option. We could do something like buffing items that have blind on your board. Interesting. Amazing Godot dev. Well, thank you. Get back into using Godot. Thanks for showing me how. You're welcome. Anytime an item fails to execute from blind, one of your items executes instead. Oh, that would be a good one. Okay, maybe we'll do that one. What are we brainstorming? Somehow enhance other senses. Hello, UT99 Horus, welcome. Blinding steals crit chance. Actually, I kind of like that one. Anytime an enemy is blinded, gain crit chance, like a random item on your board gains crit chance. That might be a good one. Brainstorming blind alone then. I'm designing an artifact. Artifacts are items that you get they're like, you know, Slay the Spire relics or like whatever they're called in Risk of Rain, right? They're like these items that you get that you keep for the duration of the run, and they somehow change some aspect of how your abilities work or whatever. So with this one, blind is typically an ability on an item. So I'm thinking, going off of what Jack said, maybe we could do something like anytime an enemy becomes blinded, a random allied item gains like a critical chance buff for one execution. Good broken, yeah. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. So it's a good question. How am I going to make this work? Abilities to execute. So let's do this. So we're going to grab a query target provider. Options.order by random is equal to true. Options.limit is equal to 1. Var buff applicator is equal to new buff applicator. Critical chance buff. With the target provider, the initial magnitude. Critical chance magnitude is... It's an integer, right? Give it a 25% crit chance. Critical chance magnitude. Critical chance buff. So I think I need to go to my buff factory or buff applicator and make sure that I have this. Oh. This works slightly differently. The magnitude is the duration. No. Interesting. I have a little bit of a flaw here, which is fine. The magnitude is the magnitude of the critical chance. I think that's okay. The problem is this is not... I think that's okay. Query target provider, buff applicator. So do create abilities. Artifact events. So I need a way of listening for ability execution. Oh boy. I actually don't know how I'm going to do this. I need to listen for ability executions. Artifact manager dot dispatch. Execution listener. Do I just do like an artifact manager? Do I just do a dispatch here? Interesting. I don't know if this is going to work, but we could try it. Public static read-only artifact event. The payload. And what are we going to want here? The enhanced context and the executing ability. Context with state. Execution context. Base card ability. Executing ability. Oh, these have to begin with uppercase characters. Okay. Ability executed args. Artifact events. Ability executed. Oh, I have the artifact context here. Get artifact context. Enhanced context. Executing ability. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see if that works. Was a fun part, creative problem solving logic puzzles. Yeah. Feel free to voice your mental process aloud as much as desired. For our sake, I try to do that, but sometimes it's a little bit hard because the systems that I'm dealing with are a little bit complex. So like, it's hard to describe exactly what's going on, but basically I have an event system for artifacts. So I can define just arbitrary events here, as well as what arguments those events accept. And then I can dispatch those events at the proper places in the code. And then in each individual artifact, what I can do is I can subscribe to those events. So I could subscribe to artifact events dot ability executed, and I could do on ability executed here as the handler. So then I do private void on ability executed. I take the artifact context, and then I also have the artifact events dot ability. Oh, maybe I just do ability executed args, something like that. So now I'm subscribed to that event in this artifact. And now I have to do some kind of filtering down. Basically, at the end of this, though, I'll do a bunch of checks, and then I'll say execute abilities. Artifact context, abilities to execute. I think that's what I'll do. Now, the question I have, though, is this get artifact context going to include... It does not include the turn context. So what I may do, actually, is... I wonder if it would be better to put this up here. So I'm not recreating that every time. So yeah. Hello, Capata, welcome. Universal item class. I have a base artifact, which is the base artifact class. Maybe it would have been better to implement artifacts as items, but they're kind of like their own thing in the code base. Questioning yourself and then answering. You have a great pattern, by the way. That would be a great tool to try and utilize more in terms of not only expedition, but also mayhaps expediting epiphanies. I suppose so, yes. So question, do you feel it's better to write in C# or GDScript? I think it's just up to personal preference, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do is fine. I like C# for the structure it gives me. I mean, like, doing something like what I just did, which is define like an arbitrary event to basically emit through the artifact manager. I mean, you can do that in GDScript, but like just the ease of setting that up. And the fact that this can, this dispatch is generic. And so it knows based on the arguments, like what the types need to be and everything. It's pretty nice. Of course, interfaces, abstract classes, I'm making heavy use of all that kind of stuff. But like, that's just all personal preference. Like it's not, you don't get anything. Like there's no obvious reason to choose C# over GDScript. It would depend on like the context of what you're trying to do. Sorry for spamming comments, not meaning to whatsoever, just jazz. That's all right. Inferred artifact as base after commenting. Gotcha. Do I play chess? I do not. I'm terrible at chess. Absolutely, absolutely terrible at chess. So we got to get through this filtering though. So now I need to know about the context. Oh, and I'm even doing this wrong though. I just realized that I'm doing this completely wrong. Because I was going to make it whenever the enemy misses with blind. Oh, that's going to be a little bit more tricky. Oh, maybe not, because this is still happening. Is execution disabled? I need to know when the ability, when the abilities are missing because of mischance. Is blinded. So we actually don't want to do that. We still have the artifact context defined up here, right? Yeah. So I actually need a different event. I'll just call it blind miss, I guess. I actually don't need any of that stuff. Do I even need the execution context? I don't think so. Empty event args. Is there a reason why this still thinks it's... Oh. Oh, it doesn't want the artifact context? Wait a minute. What is even going on? Oh. Oh, yeah, I just do this. No, wait a minute. How does it get the artifact context? Wait a minute. How is this connecting? Yeah, it's got the artifact context there. Wait, how is it getting the artifact context? Dispatch event. How is that different than dispatch? Is this this is creating the artifact context. Oh, I see. So wait, this would become turn context then. Oh, okay. Well, dispatch event. What is even going on here? Why is this not working? Combat start payload. T payload is, I mean, it's empty, so. Okay, whatever. The problem though is I don't. I actually need more data here. Okay, so trying to get this data to to be what I need it to be is a little bit. I'm just gonna do this very simply, hopefully. Now wait, there's another thing that I'm missing too. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to figure out what is the best way of doing this. Artifact context. But there's a way, like I can subscribe this is scoped, right? Where is that scope? Oh, the modifiers have a scope, right? Okay, never mind. I'm getting myself all mixed up. So this is empty event args, right? So on ability executed. Okay. So we actually want to do blind miss args. Goodness gracious, we go back here. Why is this so difficult? I think I do this. I have a payload I can put or the turn context. See, this is what I'm confused by. I'm doing this. Artifact context. New. So I guess there's a couple overrides that I'm getting mixed up in. Artifact event. Actually, this would just be blind miss args by card is equal to this. Okay, did I finally do it? Jeepers. There's a couple of overloads that are just making that a little bit confusing. Okay. So now we can do this. This would be on blind miss. On blind miss. Base card. Buy card. Okay. If buy card is not equal, dot is owned by player is. If not is owned by player, we just leave this. Or no. If it is owned by player, we will leave. Oh my gosh. And this is still not working. Oh, because this would be blind miss args. Right. Oh, goodness. I think that works. Yeah, whenever a blind misses, an item gains crit chance. What's your favorite game if you have one? Good question. I think my favorite game of all time is probably Baldur's Gate 3. But I played a lot of League of Legends as well. So it'd have to be between those two. Probably. Love how you deal with comments, deving, not allowing to constantly chirp instead of checking back. Yeah, I mean, I like to, like I said earlier, the goal of this stream is to actually get work done and then respond to the chat when I have a break in like whatever I'm trying to do. But hello, V, welcome. Cool game. League is impressive. Been around more than a decade. Yeah. I started playing it shortly after it left beta. I was in high school. And my junior and senior years of high school were basically consumed by just playing League of Legends all day. After school, of course. All right, let's see if this even works. I have a feeling it's not going to work. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this has blinded those two things. That blind did not trigger, so we gotta go again. I should really make these guys do less damage, huh? Because I'm gonna die. Well, that's all right. Let's edit the training dummies. Let's just do damage 1. All or nothing. Hello, Nice Mice franchise. Welcome. Okay, let's see if this works. I could edit the blind of the... Okay, wait a minute. So we've got blinded by 50%. Those both executed, so we got to go again. Those both executed again, I suppose. So blinded by 50%. Wow, they're both executing. Did I break this? Or is it just, am I just getting unlucky? Okay, one missed. Yeah, it's not working. I don't have any errors. Okay, let's just put a breakpoint here. Attach to process. Godot. Let's see what happens. Let's just wait until I hit the breakpoint, I suppose. Oh, there we go. Dispatch blind miss. We've got the turn context by card equals this. Okay. So I go to the I monstrance here. Is owned by player is false. We go to execute abilities. Query target provider. Oh. No, that should be fine. Oh, I forgot that. Yeah. It's a simple issue. Options.queryDirections is equal to queryDirections.entireBoard. I didn't supply what should be queried, so it was just returning no results. Okay, let's try it again. How do we know visually something is blinded? There's no visual yet. I'm going to think about doing that. Going well. Going well. Thank you for asking. Redirected here from your Dev Dream pod. Pretty cool. Also valid points there. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun podcast. I enjoyed it. Okay, blinded. Okay, both of those succeeded. Both of those succeeded again, I guess. Okay. Well, both of them missed, and I did not get the miss chance. Oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't working. Abilities to execute, abilities to execute. Oh, is this the wrong? Is this in the wrong order? No, it's not. Well, I guess I'm going to have to step through this again. Executing abilities from artifacts is a little bit iffy. Okay, we've got the dispatch. Abilities to execute, so let's step into this. Target info, if ability is iTarget provider, target info, count. So it's not getting the targets. The execution context. That's correct. Artifact context, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Execution initiator. Source board should be player board. Yeah, the source board is the player board. So get targets. So the execution context is correct. Why would they get targets? I really don't know why that's not working. Hold on a second. Does the query target provider not work here? Hold on a second. Okay, let's just go forward again. On blind miss. So we step into that. We need to step into get targets here. Let's just go to the query target provider, get query result, ability, execution context, base artifact is correct. Query board with final filter. Query options. Entire board, query source board. Limit is 1. Order by random is true. What am I doing wrong here? Edit breakpoint, execution, context, dot base artifact is not equal to null. So we'll add a condition. Ah, fudge. Execution context, base artifact, not equal to null. Okay. Source cells, 0. Source board inventory component. Oh, source board inventory component is null. That would be the problem. Well, we found it. So I just need to edit. I need to edit this. Oh, that's... See, I don't know why I did that. That's an old long-standing thing. But anyway, I have to supply it here, but I don't need to supply it for the target. Whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyway, let's try it again. Wish GDScript had an Elvis operator too. What is an Elvis operator? I've never heard that before. Still not working. Okay, well, let's do another attach to process and we'll see what's going wrong this time. Okay. Source board inventory component. That's correct. I did get a card. Interesting. So wait, that's correct. So if we go back to base artifact and we go back here, my target info now contains an item, which is correct. And we're on query target provider. So I go again, we've got the buff applicator, same target info. Buff applicator is an iTarget provider, right? Yeah, it is. So that's good. So is this buff applicator just not working now? Applicator. Targets. Giant squid, so that works. Is the final magnitude 0? No. We're creating the buff. Critical chance buff. Is player action is confused buff. Apply deferred is false. Target.buff container.add buff. So that is working. Did I just not? Oh, it's going to be. I'm going to need to go and flip over to this. Force it to pause. Oh gosh, I have the speed up too high. Go quickly. Okay. Oh no, it does have the critical chance buff. Critical chance increased by 2,500%. That's not correct. Forgot to divide by 100. Okay, we're almost there. The fudge sensor is pretty funny. Glad you like it. Oh, I see. Yeah. I do like Elvis operators. It looks like Elvis Presley's hair curl. Gotcha. Null conditional. Yeah, I always referred to it as a null conditional as well. Just bought your course on Udemy. Just one question. I see you program in C# using VS Code. 1 second. Okay, we keep going. Any particular reason I'm using GDScript plus Godot editor itself? Just have it. Critical chance increased by 25%. 1 execution remaining. Look at that. Sorry, I'll reread your question real quick. Critical chance increased by 25%. Excellent. I think it's working. Yeah, it is working. I want to see if I can get 2 crit. There we go, 50%. Excellent. It is working. Cool. All right, anyway, just one question. I see you program in C# using VS Code. Any particular reason I'm using GDScript plus Godot editor itself? Just have it. No, I mean, I like GDScript. I don't like the Godot editor that much. I think I would probably use VS Code with GDScript as well. But yeah, GDScript is fine. C# is just personal preference. That's really it. It's not, you know, it's not, I think you can make complex and competent games in GDScript, no problem. And I actually do like GDScript a lot. I think it's fun to read and write, but I'm just more comfortable with C#. I have a bunch of tooling built up for C# for myself, and the structure is nice to have in terms of like, you know, just all the things that C# offers. Cool. Alrighty then. So work on iMonstrance. So I need to come up with a different name for it. So let's add this artifact iMonstrance. I need to write the description and I need to name it. I think that's basically it. The good thing about using C# is the more transferable to other areas like web dev or engines. My Codium's add-on updated, I guess, now it won't work with my Godot 4.6 anymore. The only thing working, now only working with one open script at a time. Oh, that's not good. Maybe you should think about making a video comparing GDScript and C#. I think that's the most frequently asked question on the channel. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, I just think a video that's like, oh, well, you could do whatever you want. It's not very interesting, but the other thing too is like, I just don't have a lot of time to make videos. That's the thing. Yeah, I find that GDScript is a little clunky to work with when you're trying to do something more complex. But yeah, I do like C# a lot. All right, anyway, that's going to be it for the stream for now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. We're going to get this new artifact in the game. It's going to be sweet. But you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. It is going to release before the end of the year. So we're getting very close. And I'm just making little incremental content improvements and adding stuff as necessary. So demo build will be out relatively soon as well. So yeah, just wishlist it. You'll be notified when the demo goes live. And of course, when the main game goes live. I would appreciate that. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Game looking good. Thank you. All right. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And if I stream again later, keep an eye on the Discord. I'll post an announcement there. Otherwise, I stream every day except for Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I'll see you here tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye for now.